Hi, this is Steve Gregg.
I'm Pam Lathrop.
And this is the February edition of Beloit Today. You know, I noticed in the mornings now there's a little bit more sun, and there's a little bit more sun at the end of the day, so I suppose we can't say spring is right around the corner, but we can think that, can't we?
Yeah, we can think about it, sure.
Okay, all right. Well, we're thinking about a lot of things on today's show, aren't we?
Yes, we have a very busy show.
Speaking of spring, there's a spring election.
Yes, Carol Alexander's going to be here with me to talk about combining polling places.
Combining polling places.
Combining polling places. It's a little new thing that they're trying to save some money.
Okay.
And she's going to be explaining that to people. So if you want to get your pencils out so you can write down where you're supposed to vote, that would be helpful. Otherwise, she gives some phone numbers and people can call.
Okay. Speaking of voting, I'm going to talk to Rebecca Hausman from the Planning Department about voting by filling out your census form on April 1st. That's not an April Fool's joke, by the way. But we want people to stand up and be counted, and that's really important to Beloit to get a good count on the census form. And I get to talk to Norm Jacobs, the new police chief, and kind of, even though he's known to the community, it's a chance for folks to kind of get to know him a little bit better and kind of get his idea for things he's going to do as chief. And it was just a couple weeks ago he was sworn in and everything.
Very nice swearing-in ceremony.
Had the outfit with the ribbons or whatever.
A lot of people there, and his wife was able to pin on the badge, so it was very nice.
Yeah, that was great. So anyway, that's ahead for February. So,
and then we also have Deb Fredrickson.
That's our secret surprise.
Sorry.
That's all right. Anyway, okay, well, let's find out about combining polling places.
All right. Today, Carol Alexander is here with us. She's the city clerk. And Carol is here today to talk about the spring primary election, which is going to take place for this election. And I'd like you to talk about that. We're going to be combining polling places.
For the first time ever in the city of Beloit history, we are combining polling places. Two reasons triggered my decision. One is that we expect a very low turnout. For similar one-issue elections in the past, the turnout has been between 2 and 4%. Since we have 10 polling places in Beloit, that means staffing with a lot of people and a lot of supplies. So we got the okay from the City Council. They passed a resolution, which is required by the state, to allow me to combine it. By doing so, we anticipate saving at least $8,000,
wow.
And most of that is in manpower costs.
Great. That's great.
The flip side is maybe a little confusion on the part of the voters not knowing where they vote. So I have spent a good deal of time making up signs, sending them to all the schools that we use as polling places, and even those that we don't use as polling places, to let people know as they're coming and going from the schools on their daily business now and up to election day where they need to go.
And where are those two new polling places? Well, they're not new polling places. They're already existing polling places, but where are the two that are going to be the combined polling places?
The two that we're going to use on the west side of town at Gaston School, which is a usual polling place, and the following polling places are being combined at Gaston. That would be those people who vote at Converse School, Gaston School, Royce School, and Hackett School. So at all those locations where people would normally show up, let's say to Converse, there will be a sign on the door that says, please go to Gaston School. Mm-hmm. And on the east side of town, our normal polling place is Central Christian Church, and we're combining 6 places at Central Christian because we have a lot more room there. We have the use of the gym that day. So we'll have First Con Church, Merrill School, Wright School, McGlennigan School, Central Christian Church, and Morgan School. So again, signs will be at the doors. The secretaries at those places will know about it, and voters will be directed to Central Christian on that side of town.
Okay. And I know that you've had something in the newspaper, so there is a lot of media attention and advertising going on. I think we've had something on the city's website. And if people get confused or they want to call you in advance if they didn't get their pencils out and write down all those polling locations, where can they call you?
They can call the city clerk's office. We have many numbers to choose from, and I'll give you all of them.
All right.
The main number is 364-6680. Also 6681, 6682, and 6684. And you're right, we did put this information on the next two city council agendas. So for those who like to watch the city council meetings, they will hear about it then. It is on the city's website. We will have an ad in the shopping news, the edition before the election, and again at all the polling sites. So we feel pretty confident that people who would usually vote in this sort of a small one-issue election will be educated on where they have to go. And if not, they'll know that day.
Well, it sounds like it, and it sounds like it just makes good financial sense to combine all those polling places for one question on the ballot.
And we think if it works without too much disruption on anyone's part, that this could be a model for future elections, because every so often this does happen. So if it works well once and we learn from it, maybe we can do it again.
So again, that election is going to take place on February 16th, and the two winners of that election will go on to the election on April 6th.
Right, and other things on the April 6th ballot, in addition to this race, will be Rock County Supervisor, Beloit City Council, Beloit School Board, Beloit Municipal Court Judge, and possibly some other county offices. So April 6th would be the next opportunity to vote. And at that time, all 10 polling places will be used as usual. So it'll be back to the usual way of doing business for April 6th.
Okay, so this is just a special little opportunity to get out and vote, combining the polling places and saving the citizens of Beloit several $1,000s.
That's the plan.
Thanks, Carol.
You're welcome.
Well, Carol was talking before about the election in February, and that's an important date for Beloiters. But there's another important date for everybody, and that's April 1st of 2010. And the 10 at the end of that year kind of should ring bells in everybody, because it's a census year. Every 10 years, the federal government takes a snapshot of the country. And with me today to talk about the census is Rebecca Hausman, a community planner with the city of Beloit. But more importantly, Rebecca, you're a member of the Complete Count Committee, right?
I am.
Yeah. Now, let's just talk for a second about census and every 10 years. It's something that the federal government does, and I think we heard that one of the TV commercials, they talk about it as a snapshot of the country. What's the census all about?
Well, the census data collected is used to divvy up over $400 billion annually from the federal government to state and local governments, as well as the census data is used to determine representation for each state in the House of Representatives and Congress.
Yeah, I think, it's funny because there's a population sign when you come into Beloit. Population 36 something, right? And that number's there for a purpose, isn't it? I mean, as you say, the federal government allocates funds based on numbers, but the state government does too. It's an important part of how the congressional representation is taken. Now, when I think about counting everyone in the United States, it sounds like to me a massive job. How are they doing it?
Well, they're sending out forms at the end of March to every address, and they took the address data from local governments over the past 2 years. So they should have all of the addresses in the city, and they'll be mailing out the census form, which is only 10 questions and should only take about 10 minutes to complete. They'll be mailing it to every address in the city of Beloit.
So sometime at the end of March, I'm going to get a form at 715 Church Street, and it's going to look real official, and it's 10 questions.
Right.
Things like what? How many people live in the house?
Right. The race data of the individuals who live in the house, and what type of house it is, if it's owned or rented.
Okay. It's not going to ask me who's my favorite baseball team or
No.
or what was I doing 10 years ago or something like that.
No.
Just basic kind of information.
Yes.
Okay. Is it going to ask me income or how tall I am or anything?
No, it will not ask any income data.
Okay. Nothing about age and weight either, right?
No.
Well, so the idea is one day, April 1st, we get a snapshot of America, 10 questions. on a form, 10 minutes to fill out, and this should be coming, as you say, to your home at the end of March. And it's really important because, as you said, there's funding associated with it, there's congressional representation, and there's the population sign when you enter Beloit, right? We could probably expect that number might change in 2011 or 2012, right? Somebody's going to go and paint a new number on it. Now, I'm sure that people might have some questions like, let's say they didn't get a form, or they have questions about how to fill it out. Are there places where people can get help?
Yes. There are two types of places. There's a Be Counted site, which will have forms if you don't get a form in the mail.
Okay.
The Be Counted sites in Beloit will be the Red Cross and the Salvation Army.
Okay.
There are also questionnaire assistance centers, and those will be staffed with individuals who work for the U.S. Census who will be able to answer any questions you have about completing the form.
Okay.
And those will be at the Merrill Center, the State Line Literacy Council, and the Beloit Public Library.
Now, I'm guessing the Census Bureau probably has a website as well that you could get some information from?
Yes. That's www.census.gov.
Okay, all right. So that's a good place too. Now, I know that one of the questions that might come up is that the language of the census. I assume it's in English, but if someone is not primarily an English speaker, there are census forms in other languages?
Correct. At the questionnaire assistance sites and the Be Counted sites, there will be forms in other languages.
Okay.
And they even, the census has used the demographic data from previous censuses to determine where they should actually send Spanish-speaking or Spanish forms in the city of Beloit. So there will be some areas of the city that will receive forms that are in Spanish and English in the mail.
Now, I've had the chance to go to a couple of these Complete Count Committee meetings with you. Tell me a little bit about what the Complete Count Committee is about.
The committee is made up of individuals in the different types of organizations in the county, so representation from the media, from community groups, religious organizations, businesses, and government, who are kind of working together to make sure the word gets out there for the census and that everyone is counted.
Okay, and I know there's probably some folks who might be a little nervous even just giving basic information to the government these days. But one thing that I've been kind of impressed at with our Complete Count Committee meetings and the census representatives that come is that it really feels like the census folks and the official census employees, that they really take care to make sure that people understand that this is not information that's used for some other purpose, that it's really just about taking that snapshot on April 1st in the country.
Right. The information is not shared with any other governmental agency, and in fact, people who have access to the data from the census forms are sworn in and not able to tell people,
Right.
tell anybody else what data they see on the forms.
Yeah, it really seemed like they take that confidentiality very, very seriously. Well, I think this is probably just the beginning of hearing about the census. Hopefully, between, as I say, we've noticed there's some commercials on TV. There'll probably be advertisements in the newspaper. If somebody has any questions here in Beloit and wants to know a little bit more about it, or maybe they want to get involved in helping make sure the turnout is good, where should they go?
They can contact me in the Neighborhood Planning Division at 364-6708.
Okay, so if you contact Rebecca at the City Hall or even, I suppose, call us in the City Manager's office, we could contact you then. But we can get a lot of information to folks. It's really, really important that people fill out that form because it really means a lot to the City of Beloit. It means a lot to the state of Wisconsin. We lost a congressional seat in the last census because of our population change, and we want to make sure that's accurate.
Right.
Good. Well, thanks for taking a few minutes today. I know you'll fill out your form, right? I'll fill out mine, and so at least we're going to have two people in Beloit, right? So thank you, and don't forget to fill, what is there, stand up and be counted? Is that what it is?
Yes.
Stand up and be counted on April 1st, 2010. Well, we wanted to take a few minutes in the show this month and maybe reintroduce, is the best word, the Beloit's new police chief, Norm Jacobs. But Norm is not really new to Beloit because he's been with the department a number of years, but obviously new as the chief. And so let me first start by congratulating you, Norm, for being appointed chief.
Well, thank you very much, and I appreciate you recognizing that I am an official Beloiter.
Yes, you are. And let's start with that. I mean, you've been in the department for many, many years, and I should probably know exactly how many, but how long since you started as a patrol officer?
32 years ago I started as a patrol officer right out of college. I came to Beloit, and it's been my home ever since.
And, you know, in those 32 years, what are maybe one or two of the biggest changes you've seen just in the policing business, not only in Beloit, but, you know, everywhere in the country?
The biggest change has been the push on technology. That really is the engine that pushes us, and that's good and bad. Because it's good because it's made a lot of great advances. For instance, the latest one has been our ECDs, or what people call a taser. It's a little controversial, but it's been a fabulous increase in our technology. It reduces injuries to officers and suspects, although it's a little bit expensive each time we use them. That's a huge technological advance. Now, on the other side, the things that I have seen problems with is that a lot of our young people don't have the social skills that we really need to have in our neighborhoods, and those are the types of skills that we have to put a little more emphasis on and push that learning curve.
I know, just when you look inside a police vehicle these days, it's kind of like walking into American TV or something. I mean, there's gadgets and screens and all sorts of things.
It's excellent. The equipment that goes into a vehicle costs almost as much as the vehicle itself.
That's amazing. Now, you talked about, you refer to as social skills in the neighborhood. You know, we're all sort of have this image of, you know, the police officer walking the beat, kind of knowing everybody. Maybe they don't do that as much, but you still try to do some of that, don't you?
I do. That's an old skill. That's what people think romantically about the police. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time to do it. But I think in selective neighborhoods, in selective areas of neighborhoods, officers have to get out of those cars and make associations with people. They have to build rapport, and that's one of the 3 goals that I have for the next couple of years, is for our officers to build a rapport in certain neighborhoods where there's a lot of action, so that when crime does occur, we can get information on how to solve the crimes. Because all of the nice things that you see on TV are nice, but the DNA and fingerprints and photographs don't solve crimes unless you have people talking with us, and we really need people talking to us.
And most crimes don't wrap themselves up in about 52 minutes with a couple commercials in between, right?
I wish they did.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned you had 3 goals for the department, and one as far as getting the officers to develop the rapport. What are the other 2?
Well, another one is to disrupt gang activity in our streets, and we can do that a number of ways. We can use some of our grant money that we get on occasion to do special hotspot enforcement. I'm looking into the possibility of getting a grant to have a consultant come in and identify our worst criminals in Beloit and our worst areas, so that I can focus our officers' attention on them a little bit more. I think that's something that we can look into. That's called intelligence-led policing. And the third thing I'm really interested in is removing crime guns from the street. Not just guns, but guns that are associated with crimes. These guns are moving automobiles, they're on criminals when they're walking around in our community selling drugs, and the violence that's created by these crime guns needs to be stopped. And if we can put a little more emphasis on this through training and observation, I think that we can make a bigger dent in our street crime.
Okay. Now, I know in some departments, chief gets hired, they may be from the inside, they may be from the outside. In the case of someone like you that's been here 30 plus years and you become chief, you don't necessarily have to go around and introduce yourself to everybody, they know who you are, but what do you do kind of as chief, you know, maybe differently than you did, you know, as a captain, a sergeant, or something in your sort of your first 100 days?
Well, the responsibility is a tremendous difference in responsibility going from the deputy chiefs or the captain's rank up to the chief, because of all of the people that you have to deal with, all of the things people are looking for us to do. And so during these first 100 days or so, one of the first things I did was went to each of the shifts and told them how valuable I think they are and how proud I am of the work that they do in Beloit, because we have some great workers in this community. I would be willing to put our police officers anywhere in the state and they could hold their own. They do a great job. But I don't think we need to stop there. I think we can get better. I think we can build our pride. I think we can do better with our training and focus our efforts on some of the real important problems in Beloit and work on those. Another thing that I'm going to be doing shortly here is deciding what we shouldn't be doing. That's just as important as what we should be doing, because police departments do some things very well and they do some things rather poorly, and it seems to me that we should be doing the things that we're supposed to do well. So that's something I'll be looking at too.
Okay. Now, the one thing I want to touch on is the city and in the Wisconsin Police and Fire Commissions do the hiring of the chief. You still had to go through a search process. There were finalists from other parts of the community. What were some of the things that we had to do, or that the Police and Fire Commission insisted be done as part of this search?
Well, it was a complete Midwestern search that included a resume. It included a evaluation of my skills with the resume, a background investigation. It included a interview with the Police and Fire Commission. They asked some very important questions, and I got a good idea exactly what the Police and Fire Commission wants of its chief. And the final process after the job offer was I had to go through basically a pre-employment testing, which included a physical, a psychological, and a polygraph test. And I was a little bit worried about the psychological test after 32 years, but I'm here to tell you that I passed, and it is possible. And that's when the offer was official.
Okay. Well, all joking aside, I think it's important for citizens to know that it was a very thorough process. I mean, there were other people competing. It wasn't somehow just automatic, and in the long run, that might have been easier. But I think it speaks to the integrity of the Police and Fire Commission, and I think that just strengthens your position here as well.
Well, there's no doubt there were some good candidates in that, and that does make me proud to know that I can stand up against some of the best in the Midwest.
Yeah. What are I'm sure you're looking to stay here a number of years. I would assume perhaps finish your policing career here. What kind of things do you hope to accomplish now?
Well, I want to build a pride in our police department. I would like to get the department moving towards intelligence-led policing, which focuses its resources specifically in some of the worst areas of Beloit and crime in Beloit. I'd like to keep our education system going well. We've got some good trained skilled officers. I also would like to look into or help the process that's occurring right now, where we're considering moving into a new police department or refurbishing the one that we're in.
Mm-hmm. That probably would be a whole nother topic for a whole nother show to talk about the new police facility, but you're right, that is something that we're looking. I suppose maybe you could say one thing that hasn't changed almost in at least, this building is, nearly 30 years old, and almost your whole policing career, is that this building pretty much is the same as it was the day we walked in here.
Other than several coats of paint, it is about the same, and it's always been cramped, and we've just barely been able to fit into it most of the time that we've been here.
Yeah. Well, let me first thank you for taking some time here today, but let me also say that we'd be happy to have you on Beloit today anytime. If there's particular messages, information you want to get out to the citizens, it's certainly another avenue that's available to you, and I know that you have an open door with the citizens and welcome comments and thoughts from Beloiters as well.
Very good. I do welcome comments from the community. I think it's very important. That's one of the jobs that I have as the chief of police, is to maintain open communications between the police department and the community, and I enjoy hearing their comments.
Good. Well, thanks again, and congratulations, and we look forward to talking to you again.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Well, I kind of said it was a secret surprise, and that's because next we're going to have Deb Fredrickson, the new director of Visit Beloit, talk about events that are coming up for the rest of February. So even though we've already interviewed her and introduced her, this is her first time on Beloit Today.
Hi, my name is Deb Fredrickson, and I'm the Executive Director of Visit Beloit. February is full of excitement and fun with the Beloit International Film Festival. And today I have with us one of our directors, Amela Resnick. And she directed The Flowers of Madison. And we'd like to let her talk about her film a little bit.
Hello. Well, my film is made in Wisconsin. It's about 3 Madison minority women. It's an inspirational documentary film, and it talks about women overcoming obstacles. It's very unique. It's very close to my heart, and I hope everybody in the area supports it. Thank you.
We have with us today, too, Melinda from the Office of the Beloit International Film Festival, and she's going to give us a little bit more information about the festival.
Thank you. Thank you, Deb. Yes, my name is Melinda, and I do represent the BIF staff today, and I want to thank everyone for watching. I want to encourage everyone to come out and participate in the festival. We have over 140 films, including short slots, so if you can get a little bit of everything in this next week. I don't know what to say, I'm sorry, I kind of spaced.
We have a number of different venues for the films, and this year we get the pleasure of adding the Beloit Public Library. The other venues that you can see these films at are Bagels and More, the Wilson Theater at Beloit College, Bushel and Peck's, which we're filming at right now, Domenico's Restaurant, the Eclipse Center, and La Casa Grande. The box office again will be this year at Visit Beloit. There are films for every age and every interest, and so you need to come out and experience this wonderful and unique opportunity in your own hometown. This doesn't happen anywhere else. It's very unique, and I think it's an amazing opportunity for this community. The Beloit International Film Fest Silent Movie Showcase this year is called The Silent Clowns. I think it's Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin. And we are very lucky again this year to have the Beloit Janesville Symphony provide the music for the silent film. And remember, on February 20th and 21st, there'll be Kids at Biff, located at the Beloit Public Library. Everything, all the activities and films there are all free of charge, and they're all family friendly. For more information on BIF, you can visit us at visitbeloit.com, BeloitFilmFestival.com. You can purchase tickets online. You can purchase tickets by phone. You can come in person to visit Beloit from Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and purchase them there. We all look forward to seeing you, and I hope you take this opportunity and visit some of the films and some of the venues. And make sure that you come to our lovely downtown, and there's restaurants, we have wonderful hotels and dining opportunities down here and lovely shops. So while you're here, please make sure you visit them too. And we want to say a special thank you to all the sponsors of BIF. Without the sponsors, the International Film Festival could never happen. And thank you for all the people that come out and support it.
Well, I think, BIF's been around for a couple years, and it was kind of cool that Deb was reminding us that we need to go help that and support that, and that could be kind of fun.
Most definitely. It's a great thing to do on a cold February night.
And, you end up seeing movies that you wouldn't see anywhere else, and that's also kind of neat. And you get the other thing that's kind of cool is you get to go to some places that, whether it's Casa Grande or wherever, that you don't think about them as movie theaters, but
right.
It's always,
they don't traditionally show movies. And,
right.
And I did say February night, but they are running these movies all during the day too, and
yes,
it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yep. So I think I'm going to do a little volunteering maybe to help them out this year. That should be exciting. So, well, I guess, I remember when we were planning the February show, we were a little worried we wouldn't have anything to talk about, but it turns out there is a lot going on.
There's always a lot going on. We just have to find it.
So we better start finding and thinking about March now, huh?
Yeah, in March we're going to really definitely talk about spring.
Okay, I'm all for that. So, okay, well, until spring.
Right.
This for Beloit Today, this has been Steve Gregg.
And Pam Lathrop.
Thank you.